Excellent. Greetings, good morning, good afternoon. It is morning here. It's to 8 a.m. here. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, depending from where you are joining us from on this wonderful, excellent event to share with each other on our participation at the United Nations Commission on Status of Women 69 section. It been it was an experience that touched me particularly. I don't know about others that were there. We were able to meet one another, those who were able to attend the 2 week sections. It gave us opportunity to meet with each other. And at the end of it all, we had a cause to attest that this gender priority strategy is a cause that must not be allowed to die. So we come up with this post-UN conversation and delegate report forum. One, to let each other, I think those of us who are the privilege to hear from us and learn from us one or two things we learned during the 2 weeks sections, and also for us to come up using this report to be able to give ourselves the next line of action with respect to gender priority strategy. So comments regarding the CSW69 section. Uh, uh, Jesus, what's wrong? Can you hear me? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can hear you, Prof.
So the CSW section remained a point, the outcome remained a strong tool for us to advance what we are doing at gender priority strategy, bearing in mind that everything we are doing on this gender priority strategy is rooted from the United Nations Commission on Status agenda. So the theme this year was a celebration of the 30th anniversary of Beijing Conference. Of course, we all know that most of the activity we are talking about, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the Beijing Women Conference, the experiences, the sharing, and how far it has taken women across the world, how far government has committed to it, and how far organizations, civil societies, women advocates, policymakers, how far they have driven the initiative to what we have today. And most sections, especially the government sections and the UN specialized side events, noted that a lot had been done successfully. The Beijing conference was the stronghold that repositioned what we are talking today, what we are advocating today about women. And we are asserting that things have not been too bad. A lot of successes rooted on that Beijing conference that was held in 1995. You know, a lot of things have been in place in order to address the cause of women and to hold us to high esteem regarding the global agenda. We are bold to say that today more women are in decision-making table, more women are involved in one thing or the other. Well, governments now give women the platform, the positions in order to disseminate what they have to do, you know, as women. So there have been many successes across the world, a lot of gender issues within the United Nations, a lot of departments all have issues concerning women in their various endeavors. So a lot of successes have been achieved within the 30 years of Beijing conference. And then at the end of this, the 2 weeks conference I think on March 21, there was the political declaration on the occasion of the 30th anniversary of the Fourth World Conference on Women. It was Fourth World Conference on Women. So there was the outward that has to deal with political declaration, which we are going to look at it later at this gathering in order to know which of them are we aligning ourselves with? So I have to hold brief for the, I'm still for the, okay. Thank God that the moderator is is now on the line. So I want to call on Dr. Devon Bannister to give us his opening remarks and take over the. He is the Global Chair and Governing Council of Gender Priority Strategy. Your Excellency, Dr. Bannister. Hello, Dr. Bannister. Hello. Yes. You are muted. We are not hearing you yet. So that's why we are here. So the gathering, this program is for us to, as I said at the beginning, to enlighten ourselves and also to network with each other on what we were able to gather from the CSW conference. So I know a lot of people are not on Jesus Christ. A lot of people are not on the line to start this. So Ambassador Christina, can I start with you and share with you your experiences at the conference, please?
Thank you, Prof. Good day again, and good day to everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. As Prof said, we did attend this session from 10 March to 21 March, which was very, very interesting, very significant. And apart from our own session that we did have on the 14th of March, we got the opportunity to attend other sessions hosted by other organizations, other government bodies, other international organizations, and it was very, very enlightening. So from my own personal perspective, in terms of the knowledge and experiences and lessons learned, so attending this conference on the status of women, which coincided with the 30-year anniversary of the Beijing conference, was very significant for me because 30 years ago, when the Beijing conference was held, I was just a little girl then, but I actually vividly remember this conference. And unfortunately, I remember it for not so nice reasons, because when the women came back from Beijing, from my home country, there was a stereotype attached to women who had attended that conference. And men were not entirely happy because apparently women came back and they were now more aware of their rights. They were more woke in today's language, and that did not sit well with a lot of people or a lot of men back then. So that's how I actually got to understand and know about this Beijing conference. So attending this, the CSW69 and celebrating the 30-year anniversary of the Beijing conference was significant for me, as I got to learn and understand what has happened and transpired over the past 30 years, from the time that I had those ideas, put in my head, and now I've got this opportunity to actually understand it for myself and actually get involved myself. So that was a very significant moment for me, and knowing and learning about the conference and what what transpired 30 years ago, and hearing from women who were actually present 30 years ago was amazing. So that experience of actually hearing from women, I mean, there were women from Tanzania, from Zimbabwe, from the US who were there 30 years ago, who were sharing the journey with us, and them reflecting and making us understand how it has been the past 30 years. And then for us, the younger generation, taking over, getting the baton stick handled over to us was really incredible for me. And then in terms of other experiences, getting to meet women from different spheres of, in the women's movement. So we met women from different NGOs, international organizations, and government bodies, and just understanding what other countries are doing in their different geographical areas in terms of women empowerment, in terms of advancing, women's rights. So it was very enlightening. It was an enlightening opportunity for me to hear and learn from different women. And I know we are global ambassadors for Gender Priority Strategies Africa, but hearing also from other people beyond Africa opened up our minds to other possible solutions that we can actually, take on and make use to advance our own strategy in Africa. And then in terms of the lessons learned, there's quite a lot of lessons learned, but I'm just going to tie this in terms of our role as global ambassadors for Gender Priority Strategy Africa, and in line with our call to combat hunger, and to give hunger solutions in Africa. So our priorities as global ambassadors is to have a unified leadership, and then to act against any pushbacks, dismantle any systematic inequalities, and defend and amplify women's voices in our fight to combat hunger in Africa. Fighting hunger is not an overnight job. It's not a paper job. It entails real solutions. That you need to come up with real solutions. Yes, with this conference, we got to understand what possible solutions we can implement out there, but real work needs to be done on the ground. So for starters, needs analysis. So we now need to go there, do a needs analysis in our different geographies to identify where exactly is the need, because it doesn't help that I go with my own strategy in a specific area where it doesn't necessarily work. So I'll give you an example. Let's say my strategy is to, promote agriculture, empower women so that they can, grow their own vegetables for self-sustaining and maybe eventually grow. There's certain areas where I can't use that solution. So what will I then do in that specific environment where I can't use that specific solution? So this is the work that we then now need to do to identify where the need is and how to help people in those specific geographical areas and depending on their specific needs. And this has already this has already started, but because of time, I can't get into more detail with that. And then there's also vicious practices that need to be stamped out. So in us working towards hunger solutions in Africa, there's certain practices that we can't ignore that we also need to focus on in our fight against hunger. So for example, human trafficking, spousal abuse, gender-based violence, and sometimes services being refused. So if I'm going to come with a strategy to help you sustain yourself, become a foodpreneur, but there's certain systems in your society that prohibit you from doing that, it's not going to work. So in us trying to work on the hunger solutions, we also need to work on these specific practices that are very prevalent. And it's not only in Africa, it's actually world over. So part of the needs analysis is to identify these practices that will be a hindrance in us to actually promote our strategies to combat hunger. And then in terms of how do we want to combat hunger, we have some of the solutions that we did discuss in our session on the 14th. So for example, early childhood education, which is already happening in some countries, but we need to really amplify this because it's not accessible to everyone. And there's different impediments to children accessing education, early childhood education, and then hunger solution at schools, maybe food programs at schools, identify where and how we can implement this, and then access accelerator for grants and loans. So you get those entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, who also have ideas that work in line with our strategies, but how can they move forward their ideas? Some of them don't have funding, some of them don't have capital, so we need to identify those solutions for them in terms of access accelerator. And then the gender pay gap, we need to work on having that reduced. Obviously, we can't work on that alone. So we have to collaborate with government organizations, civil society, to help reduce that gender pay gap. And then, more importantly, is to raise the voices of grassroots women. If we can help grassroots women amplify their voices, I believe that we are moving towards, the right goal. We are moving towards a positive achievement of our goals. And then finally, our solution to hunger, the main objective is to increase local food production, improve food distribution, and raise awareness and education. So, for example, nutrition and food security. So hunger solution is not just giving someone a pack of goodies and they've got a meal for the night or for the day. We need to give sustainable solutions. We need to educate our women. Not just our women, we need to educate our societies and our women so that they understand how they can sustain themselves going forward, apart from the interim solutions that we can give them now. When I was coming back to SA, I had a very interesting conversation with one of the ladies I was sitting next to, because I knit like as a hobby. So as I was knitting, she asked me, so what do you do with the scarves when you finish knitting them? Then I said, I actually plan on giving the women who beg by the sides of the roads in my area, because I've actually identified quite a few women in my area. I mean, every now and then I give them a loaf of bread when I come from the shops, but is that even sustainable? Then she said to me, that is such a nice idea, but why don't you do this? Instead of you just giving them the scarves, get them, train them how to knit. It's easy for you to buy the wool and the knitting needles, but train them. In you training them, you're actually capacitating them, giving them a skill. And then when they knit these scarves, you then identify maybe a charity organization where you want to donate them, and then you pay these women a small fee or whatever amount of money for knitting a scarf. So let's say, for example, a scarf for 100 Rand, and then you knit 5 scarves, you've already gotten 500 Rand. With 500 Rand, you can buy food for your family, and you've acquired a skill. So for me, it was a matter of, yes, we can attend these conferences, we sit in these big rooms and all of that, but we need to be open-minded everywhere we are, because solutions are everywhere. Solutions are everywhere. We must just not wait to sit and attend a high-profile conference thinking we're going to come with all the solutions there. We must just be prepared and open to ideas and see what's happening around us. And that way we can be real global ambassadors for hunger solutions in Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Ambassador Christina. It's good to know that we're able to, as ambassadors, be able to not just fight for peace, but then at the same time be that bridge when it comes to being able to provide stuff to individuals that they themselves can be able to form that sense of independence and being that voice at the same time. So thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Please forgive me for being a little bit late. I had a early morning stuff that kind of shifted my time a little bit this morning, but nevertheless, I am here. Dr. Ada, thank you very much for holding the fort. Just to continue in the same flow that I've met, I'm just going to hold my opening remarks and just allow the conversation to continue. So with Dr. Rachel, is Dr. Rachel here?
Long Green, yes. Dr.
Yes,
Rachel.
actually, yes, I'm here, but the environment is very noisy. So I'll send my reflection on paper after the meeting. So pardon me, I think we can pass on to another speaker.
Okay.
Thank you so
That's
much.
fine.
Bye.
Dr. Lucy? Is Dr. Lucy here? Dr. Lucy Okiki? Oh, yes. I see her. You're muted. Just unmute your mic.
A very good afternoon from Lagos, Nigeria, to my erudite convener, Professor Ada, our board president, Prince from the just keen on already established protocol. The CSW 69 was an eye-opener for me because it happened to be my first exposure to that event, the United Nations CSW. And I must commend Professor Ada and Her Excellency Alaingi Silva for all the efforts and strategies, plans they've been able to put together so far to have made it possible for us to become gender parity strategy ambassadors. I will speak on our meeting where we had a dinner because that's what I've been called to speak. And after that, I will want to give a small expose on the peers initiative. So during our meeting where we were able to congregate at a restaurant very close to the United Nations office, we're able to sit down. We're 7 of us, and we're able to sit down, congregate, and strategize on future plans for the GEPS. And in that meeting, the peers was elucidated by Professor Ada, the peers initiative, which stands for Policy, Education, Advocacy, Research, and Solutions. And that expose was given to us, and we're able to understand what that meant. And also, we also explored various areas in terms of hunger solutions and how, like my previous speaker just spoke about the hunger solutions. Yes, and thank you, Professor Ada. That was the global ambassadors during the meeting, where we also looked at our handbook as GPS ambassador. So that was the handbook that was given to us. So very well written, very well done, Professor Ada. So we looked at that. We looked at the hunger solutions and strategies for that. And that was expatiated, elucidated by Professor Ada and Her Excellency Alaingi Silva. I will just want to read a bit from the meeting that we had and just expand on it. So we looked at a plan of action, and 5 plans of action was what we were able to come up with. We looked at the need for sustainability, and I'm sure you all agree with me that the GEPS has to be sustainable. So we looked at ways of sustainability, and the second plan of action was to build on the success of the event. So we need to build on the success of the CSW69. We also talked about a next line of action, which will be to build a peers template. And another line of action, which we discussed at that meeting, was to form working groups. So we are the GPS ambassadors in Africa from different countries. So we're looking at having various strata of leadership. Are we going to have country leadership? Or in Nigeria, where I am located, are we going to have leadership by location? So we're looking at a framework for organizing ourselves at that meeting, which we see as a critical line of action. We also talked about outlining different areas for empowerment. So we've talked about hunger. We could look at capacity building. We could look at the STEM girls. So those are areas, different areas where we could harness our resources together to come up with a framework for empowerment. Then we went on to discuss the hunger solutions. And under the hunger solutions, we looked at empowering women in farming, which my previous speaker, Ambassador Christine, spoke about extensively. And we discussed building a framework for the hunger value chain, because we're made to understand that when people talk about agriculture, sometimes they just look at the farming part of agriculture, but it's a lot more than that. There's logistics. There is when it comes to there's logistics. There's also for the women, trading. There's farm equipment, there's sustainable farming. So it's a framework, and it's a value chain rather. And so we looked at building that framework for the value chain. We also discussed, as part of our hunger solutions, we discussed setting up cooperatives for women. In addition to that, we talked about a platform for women, which I spoke about just now, about selling their produce. So we're looking at marketing their produce. So we looked at setting up a platform for women to sell their produce by way of maybe a hunger solutions harvest fair. We also looked at recycling of farm waste. We talked about that as an area too that we could take advantage of. And when you talk about recycling, you're talking about helping our environment, reducing global emissions, right? And ultimately making an impact when it comes to climate change. And we also looked at building cooperatives according to state. So are we building cooperatives according to state? Like in Nigeria, are we going to have state cooperatives, or we're going to have cooperatives according to produce, like maize cooperative, pig farming cooperatives, and things like that? So we had extensive discussions around these areas, and I would say they were eye-opening, they were thought-provoking discussions that we had. Then we also looked at possibilities for South Africa, because Ambassador Christine had a lot of questions. So she was encouraged in that meeting to build a GPS team, to do a needs assessment, which was spoken about extensively by Her Excellency Dr. Alayinge Silva, who encouraged us and opened our understanding of a needs assessment. And she was also encouraged to explore ways of education for farmers on things like sustainable farming. So we were able to have these discussions at the meeting extensively. So personally, want to talk briefly on peers. I hope I'm still being heard. Can everyone hear me, please?
Yes,
Yes,
go
we
ahead.
can hear you.
Okay, brilliant. So now I did a bit of study on peers and ideas for how we can move on as GEPS ambassadors. So as we approach the next CSW, the GEPS ambassadors, we must align our efforts with global gender equality goals while spotlighting African-led innovations using the peers framework. And this will offer us a strategic lens through which we can all galvanize action, inspire collaboration, and promote measurable outcomes with empirical evidence for gender mainstreaming globally. So first of all, I'll speak about policy. We can look at enabling gender responsive frameworks with the following strategic focus areas. Policy advocacy. The GEPS can drive harmonized legislation across African countries, advocating for gender parity in leadership, energy, climate justice, and technology sectors. We can look at QSHE integration. I am an environmentalist and a sustainability professional. I also lead the team for environmental management and sustainability at the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Lagos. So this is dear to my heart. So for the OSHE integration, we could lobby for occupational health and safety, health and environment policies that protect and empower women in high-risk sectors like energy, oil and gas, mining, and agriculture. Also, we could promote budgeting for gender equity by advocating for gender-responsive budgeting in national and subnational planning, particularly in water, sanitation, education, and clean energy investments. We could also, as a form of enabling gender-responsive framework, we could also establish interministerial GEPS task force to track policy implementation and report progress on Sustainable Development Goals 5 and Sustainable Development Goals 13. So one of our outcomes for the next CSW could be a policy brief on mainstreaming gender into national regulatory frameworks across Africa with a gender priority strategy-led accountability matrix. I now went ahead to look at education, the area of education, through driving transformative capacity building. And under education, I am proposing the following strategic focus areas: gender smart curricula, developing and rolling out Pan-African curriculum supplements on gender equity, climate action, and sustainability in primary to tertiary education. I recently conducted a webinar for STEM girls in Lagos. And in that webinar, we had dozens of primary school students attend that webinar, because it is important for us to start from the foundation. Also, another strategic focus area could be mentorship pipelines. I am a global mentor. I mentor students, and yesterday I was able to conduct an inclusion session on women in tech for Mountaintop University, Ogun State. And there I had dozens of students from computer science. It was organized by the Computing Association, or Association of Computing Students, Nigeria. So mentoring, it's important. So we could scale GEPS-led mentorship programs tagged Her Pathway to Leadership, targeting young women in STEM, in law, in energy, and governance. Another strategic focus area could be in digital literacy. The GEPS can establish community-based digital hubs, offering training in digital skills, in AI ethics, and green entrepreneurship for rural women and girls. We could focus on institutional partnerships, forging alliances with the UNESCO, with ECOSOC, with which also, of course, where I'm sure we have, by virtue of the GEPS, we have a good standing with ECOSOC. And universities to build gender-focused academic content and certification programs. So as an outcome for the next CSW, this could be a presentation of a GEPS gender and education advancement toolkit. We could call it the GEAT, a scalable model for national education ministries. Then I looked at Africa, advocacy in Africa. So I've spoken about policy, education. I'm talking, the A now is advocacy in Africa. Pan-African unity for gender equity with the following strategic focus areas. We could have a GEPS Pan-African Charter. We can launch a GPS Charter for action for African women, which will be a declaration of commitments from each African country. Also, another strategic focus area on intercontinental sisterhood exchange called ISE to facilitate exchange programs between African. Ephraim, can you stop it? Please hold on. I need to speak to my son. Can you excuse me, please? Excuse me, please. Yes. I can't. Sorry about that, please. These are the hazards of working from home. So we could facilitate exchange programs between African, Caribbean, and diaspora women leaders in innovation, governance, and sustainability. We could also, as GEPS, promote women-led participation in the African continental free trade area, providing policy input and training for female entrepreneurs. Another strategic focal area could be in cultural inclusion, integrating traditional knowledge systems and indigenous languages in gender sensitization campaigns and storytelling platforms. The outcome for the next CSW could be a digital repository titled Voices of Africa, Women's Stories, Solutions, and Systems. Incidentally, I am working on an initiative called BGB 30 Plus Initiative, and in collaboration with an NGO. So it's something we could explore. So I'm building competence, I'm building resources in that area, and we as the GEPS, we could harness on that as well. So for research, which is our arrow, gender disaggregated data and evidence-based advocacy with the following strategic focus areas. GEPS Gender Impact Index. We can create a dashboard that tracks national progress in gender access to energy, water, health, and education across Africa. We could also embark on community-led research, empowering women in local communities to be research contributors through participatory data collection and citizen science. Partnerships with think tanks, collaborate with research institutions such as the ADB, the African Development Bank, the United Nations Women, which we already are in good standing with, ECOWAS Gender Center, to publish white papers on gender trends and gaps. Another focal area could be AI for gender justice. Utilize artificial intelligence and data analytics to identify root causes of gender-based inequalities and inform interventions. The outcome for the next CSW will be the launch of the GEPS Women's Data Lab and publication of African Gender Foresight Report for 2030. So for S, we're talking about solutions, actionable, scalable, and sustainable initiatives with the following strategic focus areas. Water for her. We could target water for her life, WOHL. Expand access to clean water and sanitation through solar-powered boreholes and women-led wash cooperatives. We could focus on green innovation grants, provide micro grants and incubation support for women's circular economy and climate adaptation projects. Health and safety tech, which is my area, health, safety, and environment, promotes development and deployment of applications for gender-based violence reporting and OSHE education, in addition to emergency response systems, collaborating to establish regional rapid response for women during climate disasters, conflict, and pandemics. And an outcome for the next CSW could be launch of the GEPS Solutions Incubator. This is quite interesting, featuring 10 flagship women-led initiatives from across Africa for the next CSW. So we could launch a GPS Solutions Incubator featuring 10 flagship women-led initiatives from across Africa. So I would conclude by saying that through peers, the GEPS ambassadors can elevate a unified and evidence-based strategy to the global stage. And at the next CSW, we could aim to spotlight not only the challenges, but the transformative leadership African women are demonstrating across policy, education, research, and innovation. So that will be my presentation for today and my contribution to our esteemed gender priority strategy initiative. Thank you very much, and thank you all for listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Lucy. I know you did cover the report from the meeting that you had with the ladies. So thank you very much for that. At this time, we're going to look at what the agenda is moving forward for the remaining of the year into next year before we get to the next CSW. And for that, we're going to hear from none other than His Excellency Prince Dr. Osita.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will need to be able to share my screen if it's possible. Okay. Okay, it's good afternoon from Nigeria, and my warm greetings to all of you wherever you are. My name is
I think you are muted. You are muted.
Just unmute your mic, Dr. Osita. We can't hear you.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. I need
There
to.
you go. Wonderful. Go ahead. We can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Very good. Thank you. My job today is very simple. I need to present the GPS contents of the declaration that was sent by the body. I also would need to share with us while we're here the plans for MAHA to work with GPS based on the hunger solutions strategies. So yes, the ministers and representatives of governments came together. They made their inputs and then they produced their declaration. So what are the implications for gender priority strategy? First is the gender-related gains. First and foremost, there is the inclusion of adolescent girls. Second, there's a gender-based violence and sexual violence. There is full, equal, and meaningful participation. There is care work recognition. There is women in peace and security, and then universal health coverage. So let's start with the inclusion of adolescent girls. The declaration for the first time made adolescent girls explicitly included in the CSW political declaration. It recognizes their distinct needs, distributions, and vulnerabilities, highlighting adolescence as a critical period where opportunities are often lost, especially in crisis. It also explicitly named in the declaration, reinforcing the urgent need to address gender-based violence and sexual violence as fundamental gender equality concerns. Full, equal, and meaningful participation. There is also the strengthening of language affirming women's and girls' rights to participate fully, equally, and meaningfully in decision-making processes and leadership roles. Care work recognition. The declaration also has explicit references to care systems and the need for remuneration of care workers, acknowledging the gender burden of unpaid and underpaid care work. Women in peace and security. The declaration also has a new language recognizing women's critical role in peace building, linking gender equality to global security efforts. Universal care coverage. It upheld UHC as a framework for achieving health rights with implicit relevance to gender-specific health needs. But there were some shortcomings. So let's look at these shortcomings, the way the declaration identified them. First is the removal of sexual and reproductive health and rights. SRHR language was removed in a last-minute political compromise. This also marked a significant regression in addressing women's and gender diverse people's bodily autonomy and health rights. There is also the shortcomings from weakening climate change commitments. This is a regression to the outdated 2020 language, failing to address the disproportionate impact of climate crisis on women and adolescent girls. It also omitted critical gender-related aspects like climate finance, climate justice, and equitable transitions, and connections to the care economy. There are some overarching themes, gender themes. First amongst them is the fight over the term gender. Intense debate over the inclusion of the word gender, with countries like the United States and Argentina pushing for its deletion, signaling a broader anti-rights agenda targeting gender equality. Also, there is the negotiation reflecting the global rise of far-right government and anti-rights actors attempting to roll back the rights of girls, women, and gender-diverse people. Also, there is a feminist advocacy and accountability, which is an emphasis on the role of feminist activities, the UN Women, and supportive member states in defending gender equality. Call for ongoing mobilization to hold governments accountable and push back against anti-right forces. So in closing, the CSW political declaration secured notable gender-specific achievements such as an inclusion of adolescent girls, recognition of gender-based violence and care work, while reinforcing women's participation in peace-building roles. But it fell short in three aspects. One, excluding sexual and reproductive health and rights, weakening climate-related gender commitments, and also underscoring the centrality of gender as contested concept. Now, let's quickly look at GPS and hunger solutions and what MAHA, Mothers Against Hunger in Africa, will be doing by way of collaboration. So who is MAHA? MAHA is the Mother Against Hunger in Africa. It is a credible initiative espousing practical grassroots approach that empowers mothers to tackle hunger effectively in the continent of Africa. The vision is to vest and invest mothers in African communities to combat hunger and malnutrition by equipping them with knowledge, resources, support networks. It also has a goal to reduce child malnutrition rates in targeted areas, teach mothers sustainable food production and nutrition skills, and create a community-led support system for food security. What are the core activities? First is nutrition education, to train mothers to spot and treat malnutrition, deploying the simple arm measuring tools to check kids' health. Food skills, to teach affordable local cooking methods for nutrition-rich meals, e.g. the porridge millet from sorghum in northern Nigeria. The core activities also include gardening support to provide seeds, tools, and training for small kitchen gardens, grow vegetables like spinach and okra. And peer networking to set up regular meetings where mothers share tips, resources, and emotional support. This is also scalable. We start small with one village or one community and expand as it grows. MAHA in the community is inviting GPS because MAHA is a community-driven initiative. We're engaging mothers, holding meetings, unpacking the program with them, and getting mothers' input, asking what they need most. We are working with leaders. We're getting buy-in from village chiefs, religious leaders, and local officials to build trust. We're leveraging existing groups, which is not trying to create anything new. We're not reinventing wheels. Wherever we find women's groups and clubs, we partner with them and launch from there. So the pilot today is in Abuja here. We're starting small and testing ideas. MAHA is building a small program in Buari, in the boundary between Niger State and the FCT. Garam is the place, and we're using the sample greenhouse program to be able to get women and girls to work and feed themselves. So we've run the first workshop, which is based on nutrition basics, local cooking demos, and then handing out seeds and inputs, and also exploring the magic of greenhouses. We've started monitoring, checking in weekly and monthly to see how mothers are doing and how the greenhouse idea is growing. And under ancillaries on their family status, we've selected 50 families in the community, and with the input of the chiefs and village heads, we are making sure that all families are carefully handled. So why MAHA? What is the problem? In Nigeria, over 40% of children under the age of 5 suffer from stunting due to malnutrition, and rural mothers lack reliable access to affordable, nutrient-rich food, especially with climate challenges like drought and flooding. So what is the solution? MAHA is launching a greenhouse farming revolution across Africa with a pilot in Buari, FCT, Nigeria, and neighboring Tafa local government area in Niger State, to empower women with training, tools, and greenhouses to grow fresh produce year-round, fight hunger, and build resilient communities. So what is our ask? We are looking for partners like GPS to provide us with support. We are also trying to get resources to be able to help pilot, to create the pilot for 50 mothers. with a goal to reduce local malnutrition by 20% in 2 years. So the impact will be spectacular because this isn't just about food. It's about giving mothers the power to feed their families, earn income, and lead change. So our collaborators, we have a vibrant mix of collaborators, both local and international players who support women in farming. We're working with village heads, women's groups, and cooperatives, e.g. in Kano, where greenhouse farming is growing, we rally mothers to provide land and labor. We also have extension workers. These are people who are agronomists who are either government employed or employed in the private sector who offer free training and connect us to local resources to be able to make our female farmers stronger in the vocation. We're working with universities like ABU Zaria and MWAYU, Michael Lokbara University of Agriculture in Umudike. These universities have agricultural departments that volunteer expertise to support our field work. So we are cultivating GPS through the global visionary for GPS. MAHA has been following GPS, and we understand the intent and desire for GPS League of Elegant Ladies to tackle hunger and malnutrition head-on with nutrition programs, food aid, and livelihood supports. We are aligning with MAHA. GPS hunger solution ties with MAHA's flagship program in Nigeria. The MAHA greenhouse farming idea fits perfectly and is sustainable, scalable step for GPS. So we await opportunities for joint community-led solutions to empower moms with greenhouses that will vibe with GPS hunger solution ethos. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Sita, for that report and that update. Now we're going to hear from Her Excellency Dr. Professor Adazi Okika.
Yeah, Dr. Sita, can you close your sharing? Thank you. Wow. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. The CSW this year was, I call it an extraordinary section because that was the first time we were meeting as gender priority global ambassadors coming together to the thing that is us. I knew that last year CSW was the very first time we flagged off the gender priority strategy at the United Nations. But this year was the very first time that we have our own specific forum to bring us together. And at the same time, after that forum, we were able to come together to share ideas and put our heads together and how to move the gender priority strategy forward. So what is gender priority? Why did we start this gender priority strategy? It has been always been an issue to some of us that a lot of issues affecting women are just flying about from one end to the other, from one corner of the world to the other. Everywhere you talk about this, you raise this topic, you begin to talk about it. The next moment you raise another topic, you begin to talk about it. And so will it continue. And at the end of it, it becomes too clumsy that we don't even know which one to address. So our organization, the Africana Women Working Group, Bruce Sisters Fellowship, and those that are focused on gender issues, came out with an idea that these issues concerning women, as stipulated for the Beijing platform and declaration for action, the 12 tenets, there should be need to prioritize women issues. Because as I said, as I always reflect, as I always refer to that when men come together, they have their priorities. And their priorities is not different from one man to the other. at any point in time where men are gathered. It's either they're discussing business versus economic discussion, they're discussing sports, and they're discussing women. So these have been their priorities. And we look at us now as women and say, what is our priorities? It seems that we don't have our priorities. We are just like all weather. You know, the Beijing conference have brought up the 12 tenets. And out of those 12 tenets, which one do we prioritize from A to Z, so that from A to Z we come up with solution that will be amenable, that will be suitable for women across the world. So the gender priority strategy is a pioneering global initiative born from the recognition that gender equality is not merely a matter of fairness, but a moral imperative and a prerequisite for sustainable development and lasting peace. So while we are building on the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, we work strategically to transform the landscape of gender equality through our comprehensive peers approach. And this peers includes the policy, education, advocacy, research, and solutions. Now, our approach acknowledges that real change has been slow for women and girls worldwide, and that not a single country has achieved true gender equality across the world. So what is now that are we trying to look at? We are looking at the holistic solution that aim to address the gender imbalance and balancing across the world, gender character development, the intergenerational connections, the gender therapy and emotional support, gender bias elimination, the woman herself, comprehensive personal development, the woman herself. So it's not about what others do to us as women, but what about us, we, the women ourselves? What is our priority? In most instances, our priorities are geared towards self-centeredness. How to make yourself look good, how to do that, how to do that. You spend your income to make sure that you look good and not the rest of them. There's no problem like that this is fine. It's written in the scripture that you need to look good because God is good. So, but then in the practical sense of it, the woman herself, how do we address your own issue? A gender, how do you prioritize your own issue? What is your priority? And where do you start and where do you end? So we now came to look at the gender war, the woman herself, the gender generation, and all that what. And then we now came out with this gender priority strategy, looking at two arms, two angles, the peers, policy, education, advocacy, research, solutions. And then the other angle is hunger solutions. Because there are two things that affect a woman. A woman is concerned about the welfare of two people around her. And one of those one is hunger. And that is why in the times of our grandparents, there is no time you enter your grandmother's house that there is no food in that house. If what you go to the back of her compound, plug one or two things, the next moment food is ready. So right from our origin assignment is to make sure that the stomach is made comfortable. And that is why we are prioritizing hunger as one of our initiatives. And then during the CS, our side event, we were able to have the First Lady of Bahamas to speak about the policies and the driving momentum on women that has to do with strategies to prioritize our issues. You know, we also had someone from Food and Agriculture Organization at UN to come and talk about this initiative that has to address the end hunger, as SDG 2 and end poverty. So we had other speakers like the Olori of Warri, the former ambassador of United Nations ambassador of Bangladesh to United, and under General Secretary of Human Rights Commission. He was also there. We had also the very first African American female Archbishop in the United States. And then we have a renowned evangelists and ministers, apostles who are also there to also share with us the need for us to prioritize our gender issues. So all those things came out for us to, at the end of it all, we put our heads together to say, what do we really do? How do we now come up with some of these things? You know, we consider the gender priority global movement by issue about appointing ambassadors in different parts of the world so that we can globalize what we are talking about. Though we now open up the doors to appoint more ambassadors, appoint global gender priority partners, bringing in just like Dr. Lucy reported about bringing in partners. You know, we need to consider bringing in partner organizations as global partners, getting in organizations to be partner to for us, in line with what we want to prioritize with respect to global movement. Now, the global movement will have to do with advocacy, with education, training, empowerment, and entrepreneurship, and is designed based on policies and resolutions concerning women at both local and global level. So now this will have to come so that when we have a platform to do the global movement, we want people, global ambassadors in Nigeria, in Ghana, in Sierra Bahamas, in UK, in Doha, in Dubai, also come together and begin to advance some of these issues in their various. So we build a global movement. And that's one of the strategies we have talked about and what Lucy presented, you know. So those global movement will make things easier for gender priority ambassadors, because if you are in Nigeria, you can easily network with an ambassador in United States or UK. You know, just as Dr. Isa is talking about MAHA, you know, Mothers Against Hunger. You know, you cannot just sit and say, okay, I want to be against hunger. But someone in Ghana is dying of hunger, and you are a woman saying we are a mother fighting against hunger. You know, so these are some of the strategy we want to adopt in the coming year. Now, again, we have the strategic toolkit that has to do with the guide. Why are we a framework for developing a tailored strategy to achieve gender equality in the workplace? We also need to establish a strong foundation by establishing the gender priority strategy to ensure that its gender equality strategy is comprehensive, is effective, and is sustainable. We need a strong foundation that provides a solid base for implementing a strategy that promotes gender equality, challenges gender stereotypes, and support the empowerment of women and girls. So the strong foundation should now include developing a clear vision and mission statement, which when we liaise with what Dr. Lucy has just projected, and because of her research and presentation, the idea that he has so much bring into them, we have to come up with developing a clear vision and mission statement. We also need to conduct a gender equality assessment, identify areas of strength, weaknesses, and establish a baseline of understanding of organization status, which is very, very important. So we need to conduct a comprehensive assessment to identify areas for improvement in promoting gender equality, gather data on gender disparities within the organization, and also including the demographics, hiring practices, and promoting rates and pay equity. These are what also need to be prioritized. Also, we need to establish a gender equality committee or task force. So we need to bring together stakeholders from across the organization to oversee the implementation of the strategy. We need to define the roles and responsibilities of committee members, including leadership, communication, accountability, and ensure the committee has the necessary resources and support to carry out its responsibility. So at the meeting, we come after that we are going to form a working committees, the gender priority working committee on policy, working committee on education, working committee on advocacy, working committee on research, and working committee on solutions. So these will come to review and revise existing policies and procedures. They will also help to establish a monitoring and evaluation framework, and also secure resources and support, and develop a gender equality policy parity. So these are what we are things that will come together to agree that so within between now and the next event, we'll be able to release some of these things and let ambassadors choose which committee they want to be involved, get involved, and then we release the strategic plan for each committee to be able to streamline some of those things and come up with an addendum that can help in advancing the gender priority strategy across the world. So another thing we also talk about is the solutions, the hunger solution. Of course, we have to look at solutions to food. You know, in our African community, we have farmers, we have harvesters, the marketers, the restaurant people, and others. We need to think of a way of bringing them together, you know, to work with the MAHA, the Mother Against Hunger. We need to work with them to see how to pull a network of all these people in order to address the hunger solutions, you know, that is highly killing people, especially now, you know. And this is what we need to make as an urgent a priority. So to do this, we are also coming up with we are also coming up with a strategy to help build a network of farmers. You know, right now we are having a gender priority strategy, hunger solutions initiative in a rural community in Anambra State. Now we have gathered about some women, you know, and they are ready. A farmland have been gotten to it. Acres of farmland have been gotten for them. And they are now preparing, as the rainy season is coming, to get into farming, you know, and they have come up with different food products that they want to farm. We have the yam, we have the sweet potato, we have the okra, we have the mushroom, and we have the corn, and other things they want to farm in that land. But the fact remains that some of these food items, some are seasonal, some will come out in 3 months, some will come out in 6 months, some come out in 1 year. But the fact remains that at every point in time, there is food coming out from this hunger solution initiative. And these women are ready to get to work as soon as possible. They also have to farm cassava, you know, and cassava will be turned into the cassava fufu and the cassava gare, the cassava tapioca, and even the ethanol or something that come out from. They are also ready to go into such production in order to be able to make sure that there is food at every point in time for in their environment. But having food is one thing. Dr. Lucy mentioned about recycling, you know, and then we also look at the conditions of the climate change, of the climate. How would they affect some of these food products, and how would they sustain the efforts of these gender priority strategy ambassadors and these women who are ready? And then we have also going in for another farmland that in Abuja, where we want to explore the lease of farmland for the farmers in Abuja to get into farming. So at the end of it all, there will be a pool for maybe either to have a market fair for these farmers to sell their products, you know, or to get in touch with the marketers, the market women, the restaurant people, you know, and those that deal with food, the recycling people, get into education, educate them about, instead of wasting some of this food, we need to recycle them. How can the leaves be recycled to what? And how can it be come out in order to be able to address challenges on food. So these are some of the things that we are able to come up with, and a lot need to be done. That is why we need the ambassadors, the platform, to get into their interest group on the working committees, and then have a meeting, come up with your strategic plan, your idea, and the solution and education. First of all, by that, whatever will come up here, we have to educate ourselves. We have to organize another Zoom where all the gender priority ambassadors will have an education from the committees, how we are going to address some of these things. This is a very laudable. This initiative has been queued in by prominent people like first ladies and the UN stakeholders that are also interested in this solution. So we have come to the extent that we cannot joke. In fact, the governor of New York State sent apology that she couldn't make it and want us to come and meet with her to discuss further on these priorities and how it can go further to advance the gender priority strategy. So we have a lot of assignment to do in the next 1 year. And the people are asking the calendar for event for next year. I know another CSW is in March 2026. We are yet to have a picture of what the CSW 70th section, how it's going to look like and what it's going to be, and then we're able to share. But then this gender priority strategy will still queue into whatever dimension the CSW 70th section will come forward. So it is a time for the ambassadors who want to attend that event for next year to begin to plan towards that. Those that need, because some of the problems we had is a lot of ambassadors could not make it because of the visa problem. One, they're getting the data and all the rest of them. So that's this understanding that the CSW in 2026 is in March. So those who want to do that will be able to think about making taking a procedure or process in order to be able to join to be part of that the conference, the General Assembly. Sorry, the CSW next year. So in September, we are going to still have the gender priority peace day, in trying to consolidate some of the working groups. What we have put there, we call it gender priority strategy peace day. Those will make us to bring some of the ideas of the working committees together and be able to present it either in a roundtable form or make it an open event. But the fact remains that we're able to present it so that we can align ourselves with in preparation for the CSW 70th section. So this is what we have done so far. And then I don't know if I'm missing it. Of course, another thing we want to do in that, sorry, oh my God. Another thing we want to do that next year is to publish the second edition of Empty Story of Esteemed Women Ambassadors. We need to begin to compile them. So those who want to publish their stories on that empty second edition, so that by March 2026, during the CSW, we launch it again. The first one was published, was launched in last year at the United Nations, where we launched the first one on that during the CSW. We launched that first one, and then sorry, I want to see. I wanted to. I just want to bring up that first to let you know what it's going to look like. Yeah, so this is the first edition that was launched last year. So the second edition is estimated, it's a biannual publication, empty stories of esteemed women, where women will share their stories, and it becomes what we are going to also bring out and get it out in next year. So very soon we'll begin to collect stories of women, and we are looking for the first 50 stories, again, first 50 stories to be published at the second edition of the empty story of esteemed women. So these are one of the things that we are putting in line to be to get prepared into coming on the. Hello, are you seeing me? Hello.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Yes,
We
yes.
can.
I thought I lost myself.
Yes, we
No,
can.
no,
Yes.
we're here.
So this what we are planning for this 2026 CSW, and see also how we can also have a courtesy call that some of the esteemed people we met during that event. We need to also talk about advocacy visit to them, like the Minister for Women Affairs, both former and present, and then even the state governor of New York, who is a woman. These are what we are planning as a advocacy visit to share with us about the gender priority strategy and our intention to have a platform of a global ambassador. We are just, why it is very important, we say global ambassadors. We are not saying national, or we're not just saying ambassador. We are appointing global ambassadors in order to be able to spread our vision and mission statement with respect to gender priority strategy. So a lot is in place to do all this, but we need more intellectual property to be part of what we are doing. More ideas, more brains. On July 4 and 5, we are having a 2-day virtual executive education course rooted on the gender priority strategy and the outcome on the path for the future. So we expect people who are to queue in. Knowledge is power, but it's an executive course. It's not a conference, it's not a summit, but an executive certificate course that can be included in your resume as one of the certificate courses you have done, in line with advancing the issue about knowledge-based intellectual property. So that is all I have to say for now on this. And let's have questions and then we'll take it off from there. Thank you, Dr. Dubois.
Thank you very much, Professor. Between yourself and Dr. Osita, you have definitely given us a lot. Everyone needs to take note and work on getting our calendar set. I don't know how this is going to work, but we'll have to try. But again, nevertheless, thank you very much, His Excellency Prince Dr. Osita, as well as Her Excellency Professor Ada. At this time, we're going to just look at the SWOT analysis and the way forward in regards to the CSW69. And to do this, I would like to ask Princess Lala King, Global Ambassador, to please take the floor.
Good afternoon from Delta State, Nigeria. I'm sorry, permit me to speak off camera. I have a bit of a network issue here. So I will be talking about the strength of the average African woman using Nigeria as a case study. When it comes to combating hunger in Africa, I grew up, I spent most of my holidays with my grandmother in the village in Delta State, and I saw the local Delta women go to farm a lot. They practically knew everything. You bring something, they know what to do with it. You see something, they know what it's meant for. And they turned everything to food, everything healthy around them to food. So for the SWOT analysis, bordering on the strength of the Nigerian woman in hunger solution, they are agricultural expertise. In many parts of the world, including Nigeria, Women are often the primary farmers and food producers. They have deep knowledge of local crops, sustainable farming practices, and traditional method of food preservation. I have had the opportunity to go to the local markets in the East and in the Federal Capital Territory. And most of our food produce, especially the green leafy vegetables, I see them waste when they don't know what to do with them. After 2 days, it's almost not edible, so they go to waste. But one of the things I know I saw my grandmother and her mates do in the village then was to dry those vegetables. They sun dry them and use them much later when it's probably out of season or when they need to use it. I didn't see them waste it, but I see our regular people today just leave it there in the market to rot. The average, they are community leaders. Women frequently take on leadership roles within their communities, organizing and mobilizing resources to address food security issues. Their strong social network can be leveraged to share information and resources effectively. Again, I'm going to talk about living in my village. There is this thing they call chain farming. It's for cassava farming. When they don't have cassava in their own village, they know other places, neighboring villages where you have cassava farm where people can go harvest cassava, buy cassava and use on their own. So this sort of networking is what is really needed for hunger solution. They have nutritional knowledge. Men are typically responsible for household nutrition, ensuring that families receive balanced diet. Their understanding of nutritional needs is vital in preventing malnutrition and promoting health. Again, they are resilient. Women often demonstrate remarkable resilience and adaptability in the face of challenges. This ability helps them to find innovative solutions to food shortages and other crises. My grandmother did something that was not very common in my village when she was alive. In my village, they don't plant cocoyam. We see it as something the people from the eastern part of Nigeria farm. But because she was an Igbo woman from the east, she brought it to my place. She brought it to Delta State to farm. So when you needed yam to do something and yam was not in season, her cocoyam was there. I saw people come to ask her for cocoyam to replace the yam because yam was not available at the given time. Education and advocacy. Educated women are powerful advocates for change. They can educate others about best practices in agriculture, nutrition, and health, thereby empowering their communities. Economic contribution. By participating in local markets and small-scale businesses, women contribute economically to their households and community, which can improve access to food and reduce poverty. Empathy and care. Women's natural inclination towards empathy and care ensures that vulnerable members of the community, such as children and the elderly, receive support that they need during the times of scarcity. I have this grand aunt in my village. One thing she was known for was that no matter who you are, you cannot come to her house and leave hungry. Whatever it is, she will just mix it together and she will have food. She has food almost all the time I have gone to visit her. It's either they're preparing it or people just finished eating in her house. So growing up as a child and coming for holidays in my hometown, she didn't have much then, but she was a feeder. I want to use the word feeder. So the strength, if we want to find hunger solution, we should learn to be feeders. And when you have this at the back of your mind that there are people that you need to take care of, that people, it propels you to do more. It propels you to pay more attention to what you're doing. If I'm farming corn, I have to find a way to have corn all through the season so that people who come to me knowing that I'm a feeder will benefit from me having corn at all times. I cannot fail them. I have to feed them. I have to make sure that they have something. Corners, corn pudding, corners, pap, corners, cornstarch for food, corn as regular corn or roasted corn. So with empathy and care as her propelling force, she found solution to hunger. By recognizing and supporting these strengths, we can empower women to lead efforts in combating hunger and building more resilient communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Princess. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, it's indeed great. I'm looking for Dr. Rosemary. Is Dr. Rosemary here?
She came in and dropped. I'm trying to see if she's around, but I'm not seeing her. She came in and dropped again. So, and Ambassador Joy had been raising her hand up. I'm trying to bring her to come to the room, see whether she's declining. So I don't know. Ambassador Joy, your hands have been up. So if you have a question, can we have it? Yeah. Okay. There's nothing on Q&A.
Does anyone have any questions before we wrap up here? Okay, I think it says Dr. Rosemary just joined.
Yes, he joined us now. I think he's having network issue. Yeah, Dr. Rosemary, are you ready to give a 5-minute sharing on your experiences? Are you available? Can you come on board? Okay, Amelia Moyes, are you raising your hand? Yes, you have something to use, like Dr. Rosemary is having network challenges.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Amelia Moore. I am so humbled and honored to be part of this conversation. I think the work that you're doing is impeccable. Just to give you a little background on me, my whole life I've been dedicated to women empowerment. Most of my experience was in the entertainment industry. So when you talk about visibility and in expanding the voice, I definitely could be an asset as it relates to that. I'm also an education specialist. And what I've done is work with inner city youth to let them understand that it's not about can, it's about how, and giving them instruction and empowering them on different things and agendas that they want to see the change within their own community. And I've been dealing with marginalized children my whole entire life. So when you look at your agenda and the program that you had, both education and advocacy would be an honor to help contribute towards you lovely ladies and gentlemen that are present today. You know, I put in the chat as it relates to education, there is current technology that assists children to have a curriculum and allow parents to educate their own children by a new technology called Chip Server. It is a program, it's an amazing technology because you don't need the internet. And when you talk about African nations, that's kind of one of the biggest problems that you have as far as connectivity. This in particular chip server allows children to have their whole curriculum and be able to communicate with the teacher via this apparatus that the teacher uploads the curriculum in, and then the child themselves that has the chip server within their house actually receives the curriculum. So when you talk about maintaining a set curriculum, it's impeccable. and it's an amicable solution. And Dr. Sal, he's really about humanity. So I know that there's probably ways that we could implement that within the villages and communities that you are concerned with. And also, as far as visibility and expanding the woman's voice, I agree with you that we have some insurmountable challenges, even here within the United States. The image of women has been attacked. The definition of women has been attacked. And consequently, the role of women has been attacked. So redefining that and helping women understand what you said, Dr. Abba, or Professor Abba, as far as the priority. You know, I do a lot of instruction on that, as well as teaching women how to understand my brothers better, because my history, my biggest position within the entertainment industry was GM of Rough Rider Records and president of Rough Rider Lifestyle, and that was DMX, The Lox, Eve, Swiss Beats, etc., etc., etc. But what people didn't know about me as the woman behind the scenes, it was literally me and 100 and 200 men. And I had to learn how to, and I was calling the shots. So I had to learn how to understand my brothers better. And so there were certain things that men do that if women incorporated within their mindset and methodology, they'd be a lot more effective. And so I do instruction on that as well. So I welcome the opportunity to be a catalyst and a tool to help empower all the endeavors that you do. And I commend all of you on what you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ms. Moore. Is there anyone else?
Yeah, Dr. Rachel is back. Oh my God. Everyone, can you kindly be on camera? Dr. Moore, be on camera. Christine, Dr. Lucy. Oh my God. Princess can be on camera for photograph. Dr. Lucy, be on camera. We need to have a group photograph. Yes, anyone with good camera, please take us good photograph. Excellent. Dr. Lucy, where are you?
Dr. Ada, you have to straight ahead. Dr. Ada.
Sorry?
Look, you need to look at the camera.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Everyone's ready?
Yeah, everyone is ready. Hold on. Take my, I have better.
All right, got it.
Take again.
Well, yeah, definitely. I need to take again because you moved.
Yes, I'm better off now. You got it?
Wonderful.
Thank you. Thank
Well,
you.
ladies and gentlemen, let me take this time to say thank you very much to each and every one of you. And it is with profound gratitude and a shared sense of purpose that I say thank you to each and every one of you for this important post-UN CSW69 session conversation and the presentations of your GEPS ambassadors delegates report. So as we
sorry, Dr. Ibok. Dr. Anita's hand is up.
Oh, her hand is still up. She wants to. I didn't see that. Yes. Sorry. Is she ready? Okay, sorry. Go ahead. My bad. Sorry.
All right, Your Excellency, it's fine. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Dr. Ada. I was able to attend CSW69 there in New York on the 1,000 Women in Religion on Gender Equality and Peace for Post 30 Years of Beijing Women conference. And as one of the speakers, I kind of brought out how important it was to highlight the vital role of faith-based organizations in building peace and how this is going to be important for faith-based organizations to be a part of the conversation. And so we want to make sure that we are careful to emphasize that true peace requires not only our political solutions, but a transformation of hearts and minds. And so, leveraging the power of faith-filled collaboration, the churches, the ministries, the parachurch organizations, things of that nature across the world, not only in Africa, but in the US and beyond, is going to be helpful as we push for the GEPS strategy, right? And so I want to encourage all of us and those who have influence in the faith-based sector to continue to encourage churches, ministries, parachurch ministries to become involved in this, because the more the merrier, right? If we have more people assisting, this is going to be strengthening our peace building process and pushing the agenda that has been so incredibly laid out by Professor Adajuni. So I thank you for the opportunity. I won't hold everyone long. I know it's been been a while. So thank you so much. And I'm very encouraged by all of those who have spoken today. Thank you for your insight. Thank you for what you are doing. I'm currently still helping the 10 girls in Accra, Ghana, through the Titus 10 organization, that foundation, where we are, through Lifestyle Image Network, my organization, assisting them in their education, which is propelling Sustainable Development Goal number 4. And so we're hoping that we will continue to develop these young ladies into nurses. I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Oh, okay. We're hoping to develop these young ladies in their education, in their faith, and so they can sustain themselves, because they're all orphans in that community. So these 10 young ladies as orphans are now being able to receive education through the foundation. So we're hoping to continue to do that and to push forward the education that needs to happen in various parts of Africa. So thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Look,
very much,
Dr. Lucy, be stable so I can repeat the picture. Ambassador Thompson, are you going to, you have something to say? Dr. Walker, are you there?
I am. Thank you so much, Professor. It has been amazing hearing the awesome plan that has been shared and has been laid out. As you all know, I work with mothers and babies with Heart for the Hopeless, and it was awesome and exciting to attend the sessions that you shared this year at CSW69. And I am excited to step forward for CSW70 to encourage more women and to push forward the agenda that you have shared with us today. As someone who works in the maternal health and infant vitality fields, it is compelling to my heart to see all of the steps and the plans you have laid out. So I just want to celebrate what has been shared today. I will not hold people longer, but I do see the need. I see the things that you have laid out, and I am in agreement with the pushing forward, with the acknowledgement of what is needed. And I stand in solidarity with each of you. As someone who is a mom of many, I'm known as the godmother to millions because I have an opportunity to touch women locally and globally, to expand their understanding, to expand their reach, and to expand their education, to have empowered lives, births, and entrepreneurial journeys. So thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to come together in solidarity to make sure that women and families, as well as fathers, have what they need and have strong foundations to change the futures of our families and our women's lives. So thank you. Thank you very much. It's been amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. I think Dr. Sita will need to take photo again. Some people have come in on camera. So Dr. Banista, are you there to do closing remarks?
Okay, can we all please come on camera as he closes?
Yes,
So that,
Christine, where are you again? Come up. I think it's a better one. And don't be left. Good, excellent. So, yes, so can we have the final one? Everyone is on camera.
Ada, raise your head and look straight ahead of you. No, like look straight ahead of you. Don't look at your head is down looking at your computer or something. Just raise your head and look straight to front. You're not going to be seeing anything, Dr. Ada.
You're not seeing me?
I can see you, but your head is twisted and I can see that you're looking down. I don't want you to look at your computer.
I'm not looking down. Maybe the way my seat is.
No. I want you to turn your head straight up like if you're looking in front of you. No. Yes. Turn a little bit more. Good. Keep it right there.
And you too, Dr. Banista, turn your head a little more.
Thank you, sir. Got it.
All right.
Very good.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Sita, thank you very much for being the only man here with me.
Thank you.
It's always the two of us alone.
We are brave, very brave and courageous.
You are gender advocate, so
Yes.
you are the he for she. So we know that.
He for she.
So as we took the time to reflect on the pivotal moments and the critical dialogues that emerged from the 69th session of the Commission on the Status of Women, I can clearly see, and I'm convinced that we stand united in our commitment to advancing gender equality, promoting inclusive policies, and elevating the voices of women and girls across every corner of the globe. This gathering was not only a platform for reflection, but a space for collaboration, action, and accountability. The insights, the experiences shared by our GEPS ambassadors during the CSW69 offer valuable guidance as we chart the path forward. So today we amplify those voices, celebrate their leadership, and deepen our resolve to build a more just, equitable, and empowered world for all. So in closing, let us engage with intention, listen with empathy, and act with unwavering resolve. And I will leave you with one quote, the famous quote that I love across the board. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. Thank you very much, Excellencies. Thank you very much, ambassadors. Thank you very much, doctors, professors, each of you in your own office and capacity. Thank you for everything that you do. And thank you for taking the time from your busy schedule to be here this morning/afternoon, depending on where you are. To every one of you joining us online, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are now adjourned.
Thank you, everyone, and begin to get prepared for CSW 70th section ST. And schedule the first Friday of the week, of the CSW week, for gender priority strategy and empty story of esteemed women launching. God bless you. Hey, who are these ambassadors at the back? Who are they? Are you an ambassador? How are you guys? All right. Wow.
We're fine.
I tell you.
Two boys, I know how you feel.
Christ is risen. By this time next week, Christ will be about to rose. So get prepared for the Easter weekend. God bless you all.
God bless you. Thank you, Professor.
Everyone.
Thank you,
Wonderful.
Professor. Thank you,
Excellencies. Good to meet
everyone.
some of you.
Thank you.